What's going on, good people? As always, want to shout out to everyone that continues to show love and support to Heavy Brand Podcast, Detroit's Youth Podcast. Um, Today's episode is more of a high school hoops presentation. So I've been receiving quite a few DMs from young high school ball players throughout parts of East Africa and throughout parts of West Africa as well, especially Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan. So with that being said, there's a lot of young high school student athletes that have interest in transferring from their country, the country of origin or the country that they're at, transferring from there to high school in the United States. So with that being said, today's episode, I'm going to focus on certain high schools that I highlighted that's based out in Denver, Colorado, mainly in one high school just outside of Denver in Lakewood, Colorado. So the state of Colorado overall is very immigrant friendly. It's quite a lot of African immigrants from everywhere on that continent, on that beautiful continent. East Africans, West Africans. I've seen a lot of Ghanaians, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Somalians, a lot of Ethiopians, and a lot of South Sudanese during my 5 years in the state of Colorado. So I was also an assistant coach briefly for a season at Alameda International High School in Lakewood, Colorado. And we had at least 3 players on that team that were natives of South Sudan. So and some of the other rival schools, excuse me, excuse me for the interruption, but it's a lot of rival schools at that time. They also had young African ball players as well. So Denver South for sure, Denver West, and some of those schools were predominantly Hispanic as far as the players on the team, but there were still 1 or 2 young African ball players on the roster for some of these schools still. So a lot of Colorado high schools are very immigrant friendly. Now I know that for a fact from speaking with some of the young ball players during that time. So it's not like these ball players were born and raised in the United States. Most of them, I know that for a fact, most of them were originally from an African country and moved out to the Colorado area. There's like only a couple that were actually born and raised in the United States. So that being said, shout outs to the state of Colorado. That's why I'm going to start off this high school hoops presentation by highlighting some of these high schools. So let's start off with Denver East High School. Denver East High School is like the top of the line, cream of the crop, the top overall high school basketball program, not just in Denver, Colorado, but really in the whole state of Colorado, as far as consistency, excellence over a long period of time. Denver East High School, the Denver East Angels, Denver East High School, that is the top program. I got the contact information on here. When you call, you can ask to speak with a basketball coach, or you can ask to speak with an athletic director. Your choice. That probably would be the first course of action you would take if you do choose to reach out to some of these schools. Try to speak with someone in person over the phone. Then, if you can't get a hold of them over the phone, then you have to go on the school website to find the email address. So do your research. I put in as much information as I can, but the rest is up to you young ball players, depending on how bad you want it. Another school got is Denver South. Denver South typically has a couple, at least a couple African ball players on their roster year after year, at least during the 5 years that I was out in Colorado. So Denver, we got George Washington. They also typically have a couple African ball players on the roster. Only thing interesting with George Washington High School is the African ball players there tended to be born and raised in the U.S. So I didn't really run into African ball players that migrated or transferred to George Washington High School from an African country. Rather, they were typically born in the United States. So with that being said, there's also, I did not include Denver North because Denver North tends to have predominantly just Hispanic teams. I usually didn't see any white players or any black players at all at Denver North High School, so I did not highlight Denver North High School. That was one Denver high school that I did not include. There's Denver Northfield. Northfield is the newest high school amongst the Denver public schools, as far as I know. Because when I was leaving Colorado a couple years ago, they had just built Northfield High School. And I believe they only had like 9th and 10th grade. Now it's 9th through 12th. So they do have a varsity basketball team. The coach, I believe, is originally of African descent, actually. Coach Ezekiel Okansi. So that'll be a good school to reach out to. Also, Manual High School. They recently won a state championship last season, and that was nice to find out about that one because in my lone season as an assistant coach at Alameda, I remember the Denver Manual was horrible. They sucked. But the beauty about high school basketball, a program can go from being a weak program to a strong program within a couple of years, depending on the talent that's coming to the school. So if you're a young ball player out in South Sudan or Uganda or Kenya or Ghana or wherever part of the world, and you have an interest in taking your talents to the United States, believe in yourself, work hard on your craft, work on your skills, but also work hard in the classroom. Take care of those grades. I'm going to share some information with you. So to transfer over, you're going to need a F1 visa, which is a student visa, a non-immigrant student visa. I would strongly recommend that you check with your U.S. embassy in your country of residence. So if you're in Uganda, research and contact the U.S. embassy in Uganda, and I have the web link here. So it's going to come up here. You can just review the video again. I'm also going to do a quick share screen. So just some of the general steps. You're going to reach out to the U.S. Embassy in your country of origin, whether it's in Uganda, Ghana, or wherever that you're at. You're going to need to take a photo. You're going to need to do an interview. So, and obviously you're going to have a school that's willing and committed to accepting you, first of all. Because obviously if you interview and they ask you, so what school are you transferring to and you don't have a school, you wasted your $160 or however amount they're going to charge you for the application, and they do charge you. So you got to check with your U.S. embassy in your country of residence to determine exactly how much money you're going to have to pay for the application. So with that being said, I'm going to share screen, show you all some of the information first and forehand. So, all right, so these are the visa categories. So if you're basically entering the United States to attend a high school, you're going for the F visa or F1 visa. Student visa is required to study in the United States. And you will need that, especially if you're the age of 14 years and up. So if you're 14 years old and up, it's required. You're gonna have to fill out an application. The online non-immigrant visa application is called the Form DS-160. Form DS-160. You must complete the online visa application and print the application form confirmation page to bring to your interview. So remember that. Once you complete the online application, you're going to have to print out the application confirmation page to bring to you for your interview. You also have to upload your photo while you're completing this online form DS-160. Your photo must be in a special format. So you can click on the link. Once you go to the website, they'll tell you the requirements for the photograph they want you to take. As far as scheduling your interview, you should schedule an appointment for your visa interview at the U.S. Embassy or consulate in the country where you live. So like I said earlier, if you reside in Kampala, Uganda, you're going to have to schedule an appointment for your visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Uganda. So I'm going to share right quick. So this is the one for Kenya, the U.S. Embassy in Kenya, https://ke.usembassy.gov. You can see this again once you review the video. This is the one, the U.S. Embassy in Uganda, https://ug.usembassy.gov. Let's see. There's the U.S. Embassy in Ghana. Shout outs to my native homeland of Ghana. It's https://gh.usembassy.gov. So with that being said, that's some of the information that you're going to need. So we're going to just do a quick little recap. Denver East High School, top of the line. George Washington High School has some history to it. Manual High School, they're the recent champions in their division or in the league they play in. Northfield High School is the newest high school on this list. Thomas Jefferson High School, Lincoln High School, Alameda High School. So there you go. Review this video with your coaches, your teammates, your family and friends, and put in the work. You got